Hey Carol, we need to talk.
Yeah, well, why not just meet face to face and we can talk directly? I mean, we do live in the same house for Pete's sake.
Well, that's because I don't want to see your face. Just thinking about seeing you makes me nauseous.
Please, Amy, don't be like that.
Please stop. Don't act like you're my mother. I don't consider you my mom. You married my dad, but you're just a stranger. You're not my mom, so get that straight. I don't have to listen to you or do anything you ask. You got that?
Yes, I know how you feel. I know I'm not really your mom and I don't pretend to be. But why be so aggressive toward me? What exactly did I do to you? We've been living together for 10 years after all. I wouldn't call that being total strangers. Besides, we have to continue living together. But it's now just the two of us. James, your father, he left us too soon. I was also devastated, you know?
No way I'm going to live with you. Just the two of us in this house? Are you serious? You know why? Because I plan on kicking you out of this house.
Huh? What do you mean?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. After the funeral the day before yesterday, you're no longer my dad's wife or my stepmother. Just a total stranger. That's being said, that gives you zero right to live here. So I want you out of here as soon as possible.
Excuse me? Hold on one second, Amy. What are you talking about? Why? Why all of a sudden? We've been living together for 10 years.
All of a sudden? Are you kidding me? I always wanted you out of this house. Ever since you came here, I yearned for the day you would be gone. I was totally against you guys getting married. Although my mom left us all those years ago, she's still my real mom. Nobody can replace my real mom. I hated you all these years, always butting into my business, telling me what to do. I was sick and tired of it. And you expect me to live with you? Are you serious? Now that Dad is gone, I want you out of here. And to never show your face in front of me again.
I'm so sorry you feel that way. I realize that you always hated me. You always ignored me all those years after your father and I got married. But isn't it a bit soon? Your father just passed and the funeral was just the other day. Kicking me out just like that? I wasn't prepared for it. Where am I supposed to go?
How should I know? I don't want to have to live with you and have you running the place like you own it, acting as nothing had happened. This house is where my mom and dad lived. There are memories here for me. I can't have you take over and change things, acting like it's yours. It's never gonna happen. Besides, Dad left everything to me. The house and all his assets. So I want you out of here, now.
Amy, please. If I leave this house, you'll be all alone. Are you okay with that? It's a pretty big house to be living alone in. You may not like me, but living here alone? I can't let you do that.
Are you nuts? Of course I'll be okay. I'm already in college and an adult for your information. I have no problem living alone. What? You think I'm just a kid and can't make it on my own? Is that what you think?
No, it's not that. I know you're competent enough to live on your own. I'm just worried is all. Cleaning this entire house takes a lot of effort. And the cost of running the house, and what are you going to do for meals? You can't live off takeout or fast food forever, you know.
There you go again. Don't start with your lecturing. I'm sick of it. Like I said, stop with the mom act.
But Amy, you're still a student. You need someone to look after you, at least until you graduate. I mean, financially, you may be okay for a while, but your dad's inheritance won't last forever, you know. You'll have to work sooner or later.
Please, you're a stranger to me. Don't go giving me orders. I can take care of things. I'll pay all the bills, no problem. Just get the hell out of my life.
But Amy, please, let me help you.
Please stop. I don't want to hear anymore. Why can't you understand? Would you just pack your stuff and get the hell out of here?
Okay, if you feel so strongly about it, I guess I have no choice. Could I at least stay until we finish with the rest of it? You know, he always wanted his ashes to be spread over the ocean. He always talked about it. I really want to be there for that. Couldn't I stay until then? Besides, I haven't packed anything. I lived here for 10 years. I can't do it in such short notice. And I want to go through my husband's, our things.
No way I'm going to allow that. Are you nuts? I don't know what you'll steal while you're going through his stuff. I know what you're trying to do. Just trying to stretch things out. End up staying here forever. I won't allow that. The funeral is over. Dad's gone forever. You mean nothing to me now. A total stranger. I own this house now. I will decide who lives here, and that's that. You're not wanted here anymore. Just get that through your thick skull.
All right then. If you're so set on kicking me out, Amy, I have no choice but to leave. I'm sorry it had to end this way. Don't worry, I'll never return. But please understand that I won't be able to help you if you get into trouble, or if by chance you regret this ever happened.
Regret? Are you kidding me? Why would I regret getting rid of you?
Hello, Amy. I just finished packing all my stuff and moved out as you asked. Thanks for everything all these years. Take care of yourself.
I don't need you informing me of your every move. What's the use? I have zero interest what you're doing. Long as you're gone, that suits me fine. I'm going to block you so you don't try contacting me again.
Right. Sorry about that. This is a final message. Just one more thing about the rent. There was just too much going on this month, so you don't have to pay. But starting next month, please pay as usual, okay?
Excuse me? Rent? What rent? What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about the money. The rent that you have to pay for living there. We were all living there together, so I didn't ask for any rent to be paid, but as you said, I'm a stranger now. Which means you need to start paying rent every month. I expect the rent to be deposited by the end of next month.
I'm sorry? Say again? Why the hell do I have to pay you rent? This is my house. Dad should have made you pay all these years.
Why? Well, that's obvious. The house you're living in is mine. Huh? Excuse me? Don't tell me you never knew. The house you're living in right now. The one you kicked me out of? I have the deeds to the house. It's always been mine.
Hold it 1 second. This can't be your house. It's Dad's. It always has been. I was born here. I've always lived here. It's my family's home. For God's sake. I've been living here way before Dad ever met you. How could this house be yours? You totally lost it, lady. Your house? Give me a break.
Yes, you're right. It was previously owned by your dad, but I bought the rights to the property and house from him.
What are you talking about?
I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago. Your mother, she was a victim of a fraud. She had a considerable amount of money stolen from her. Well, long story short, I put up the money to pay off her debts, and in return, your father gave me the deeds to the property and house.
Why did you have that much money? I mean, you were just a housewife all those years. No way you would have saved that much.
I'm not a housewife. Yes, I did all the household chores and cooked the meals, but I was working too. As a matter of fact, I run a business.
Pardon me? You own a company?
Yes, all my employees work from home. You know, remote work. We have meetings on a daily basis. We don't have an office, so I don't need a commute. I was always working at home, so you may not have noticed, but I'm actually the president of the company. The CEO, if you may.
No way! You're making all that up.
No, it's true. Not making it up. That's why I was able to repay your mother's debt.
Are you really serious?
So, do you now understand why I was so adamant about staying? It's my house. And that means you'll have to pay rent on that house, which is $2,000 a month.
Wait a second. Did you just say $2,000 a month? Are you crazy? I can't pay that much every month. I'm a college student, for God's sake.
Excuse me? I thought you said you had no problem taking care of it all. That you were an adult now. You're a college student, a grown woman. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, I did say that, but until now...
Don't tell me you want me to keep paying for you. Is that what you want me to do? You said it was your house, but then you want a stranger to pay for everything? That makes no sense. You're not saying that, right?
I'm not saying that, but I can't pay $2,000 a month.
Well, if you're planning on living there, you're going to have to pay rent, or you'll have to buy that house for me somehow. Sorry, but those are your only two options.
Ugh, you're not serious. That's not fair.
If you ignore the rent payments for, say, 3 months, I'm going to have to evict you from the house. I'm sorry, but it's the law. That's it for now. I'm going to be pretty busy, so I'll send all the necessary documents by mail in a few days, so look them over and then decide what you're going to do. Okay, then see you again.
Wait a second, Carol. You can't just... Wait! Don't cut me off! Excuse me, Carol. Are you good to talk?
Hey, Amy. What's up? That's strange. I never heard you call me Carol before. It was always, hey you, or something to the effect.
Yeah, well, that was because, I just thought maybe it was about time I forgave you for everything.
Sorry? Forgive me for what?
Well, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is just... got it out of my system, so to speak, and I suppose there was a little misunderstanding.
Sorry, Amy. You're really not making much sense. What are you trying to say?
I was just trying to say, well, I'm saying you can return to the house if you want.
Excuse me? But you just kicked me out of the house just the other day.
Yeah, but I gave it some thought, and after you left, well, I just realized how important you were to the house and my life. I just wanted, to say that,
I'm sorry, I don't know. Just spit it out, Amy. Okay, I'll say it for you. You can't manage that huge house yourself, and you can't pay the rent, and you want me to come back. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I was just, yeah.
I know your father left you some money, and I rejected any inheritance, but that was still not enough for you to buy back the house. If you used it solely on rent, well, that wouldn't last long. By the time you start working and making a little money, nothing will be left. Of course, there's all kinds of other expenses that will come up.
Yeah, that's right. It's hard just keeping the house clean on a daily basis. I also can't make meals every day. I always end up just buying some things at the 7-Eleven. But then again, I can't just skip school. I have to continue my studies. I'm just constantly thinking about the rent and how I'm going to pay for it every month. To be honest, I'm emotionally exhausted. I can't continue like this.
I saw all this coming. I kept trying to warn you this would happen. When you said you were going to live there alone, I was concerned. You never help with the cooking or the house chores. It all seems so easy when someone else is doing it for you. It's not easy to maintain a household all by yourself.
All you've done over the years, I had no idea. I finally realized you have done so much, but I took such a despicable attitude towards you. I was such a jerk. I'm really sorry, Carol. I mean it. I swear I'll never kick you out or demand that you leave or anything. I will never ignore you like I did. I swear I'll do my best to get along with you. So, please come back. Let's live together again. Please, Carol.
I'm sorry, but I really can't help you, Amy.
Huh? Pardon me?
You kicked me out of the house simply because you didn't like me. You never even tried to get to know me. You ignored me all these years. All of a sudden, you find out that it's hard living on your own. So now you want me to come back? I don't think so. I mean, come on, Amy. Think about what you're saying.
But, like I said, I regret what I said. I know I was a little hard on you. But that's all over now. I'm really sorry for how I treated you. So please forgive me.
I would appreciate it if you would stop apologizing. It just seems so superficial. You want me to come back not because you truly feel remorse. You just want someone to pay the bills. Someone to clean and cook for you. Isn't that right?
No, that's not it. You got me all wrong, Carol. I really mean it. I really want to be friends with you. Get to know you better.
Well, I really don't want to be friends with you, to be honest. We never been close even though we lived together for all those years before your father died. I tried all those years to try and be your friend, for you to accept me, but all you did was ignore me for 10 years. Even now, all you want to do is use me for your advantage, am I right? I have no obligation to help you, Amy.
Please don't say that, please. I need your help. Please, Mom.
Amy, you're a total stranger, remember? Don't go acting like you're my daughter all of a sudden.
You can't just leave me.
Alright then. I expect the rent starting from next month. Don't be late. I'll send the bank information to you as soon as possible. Okay, see you.
Wait, please, Carol. Mom, it wasn't supposed to turn out this way. I really mean it. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Please come back.
After that, I received several phone calls from her continuing to apologize and pleading for me to forgive her. But I could still perceive that her ulterior motive was to get out of cooking and doing household chores. But most of all to pay the rent. In order to get her to see the light, I contacted my late husband's sister, Marcia. I asked her to take Amy in and to discipline her, to teach her how to be on her own. I knew Marcia was a strict mother. After all, she raised 2 wonderful sons and 3 beautiful daughters. Under her guidance, I'm sure she'll teach her to be a responsible and upstanding young woman. As for the house, it will remain empty for a while. I hope to maintain and keep it in good condition for the foreseeable future. After Amy finishes college and hopefully realizes her mistake and truly understands how she acted all these years, I plan to transfer the deeds to the house and property to her someday. Then I will just fade away and let her go on with her life. I do not plan to live with Amy in the future, but after all, she is my daughter-in-law, the daughter of a man I loved and cared for. I want Amy to be happy, and I hope someday she'll appreciate what I did for her.
Hey Lisa, I've been working late today, so you don't need to prepare any supper for me.
What? You're working late again? What time do you think you'll be home then?
I told you this before, but it's always hard to know. My boss is taking me out for drinks and it's not in my control. I'm sure we'll be done by the last train.
You've been coming home late a lot lately.
It's not like I'm doing this on purpose. Going out for drinks after work is part of my job. Sucking up to your boss is important if you want to move up in the world.
I guess that's true. But I hear your coworker Brady doesn't come home too late. I bumped into his wife the other day and she told me that he hasn't had to work overtime at all lately.
Oh yeah, he's given up on getting any promotions, that's why. I'm guessing he's happy staying where he is forever. He's already labeled as useless at a company. That's why he's never invited to come out after work.
But isn't it a good thing that he gets to spend more time with his family? I don't think it's necessary to go out every night.
Well, I'm not always going out with the same people. I want to create a broad range of personal connections. It's especially important that I try really hard right now. This could decide whether I have an opportunity to get a promotion in the future.
Okay, I guess I understand then. Just make sure you don't drink too much.
Of course, I know that.
I know you can't help it today, but it would make me very happy if you tried coming home early more often. It's hard for me to be alone with your mom all the time.
Why? What do you mean?
I just told you about this the other day. Were you not paying attention?
Oh, is it about you feel like she's picking on you?
Yeah. For instance, she made me clean the entire storage room this morning. I can't help but to think that she's doing these things just to be mean.
What other things did she do to make you feel that way?
Well, she made me clean the storage room thoroughly last week as well. Despite that, I had to take out everything and wipe her again today for no apparent reason. It wasn't even dirty to begin with, and she hardly ever even uses that room anyway. I think she's just running out of places for me to clean.
Why don't you just make up some excuse and say no? You're only stressed out because you take things too seriously all the time.
but she would bother me all day if I didn't do as she says. She says things like, "Oh, I shouldn't have let you marry my son." Or, "I wish I could trade you off with a younger and more beautiful wife for my son." What's more, today she told me that because I'm in my 30s now, I'm old and hideous.
Well, isn't that how it works for every mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship? I'm sure everyone deals with these things. It's not like you're the only one with this problem, so don't worry about it.
How could you say things like that? Who am I supposed to trust if you're not even on my side?
Don't say things like that. I'm not picking sides. It's my mother we're talking about.
But it's really hard for me to hear her talk to me this way every single day. I'm trying my hardest to get her approval, but I think she's already made up her mind from the beginning that she doesn't like me. She's constantly making me do random, unnecessary tasks and talking down to me. Do you realize how difficult this is to deal with every day?
What do you want to do then?
When you're around, she doesn't treat me that way. That's why I want you to be home more often.
Well, I have to work, so it's not possible.
I know that. I guess I'd just like you to not go out after work as often, if you can. Or maybe you can try talking to your mom about this?
I don't know. I feel like I've been making her out to be a horrible person.
Well, she is picking on me.
It's not like she's hitting you. Just don't think about it. You're making it a way bigger deal than it is.
Can you say the same thing if this was happening to you?
I don't think it would bother me. I have to go through way harder things than this at one time. I can't even keep track of how many times I've been talked down to. But even then, I'm expected not to complain and keep a smile on my face. It annoys me that I have to listen to these types of complaints when you are mostly able to relax at home.
It's fine. Just forget it.
I'm glad you finally understand how selfish you're being. You have to realize how fortunate you are. Everything is provided for you. And the only thing you have to do is deal with my mom.
It wasn't my choice to quit my job. You were the one who asked me to quit and stay home with your mom.
But you ultimately made that decision. Don't complain about the choices you made for yourself. You should just appreciate the fact that you can stay home and not have any responsibilities. I don't want to hear about this ever again. Just solve these issues on your own.
Hey, Max. How could you do this to me? Please unlock the door and let me in.
I told you I'm not letting you in the house anymore. I will ship all your stuff to your parents' house. You can sign the divorce papers later. Wait until you hear from me.
On top of suddenly asking me for a divorce, you kicked me out without notice. How could you do this to me?
Well, I'll let you have your personal items like your wallet.
Even so, shouldn't we at least talk about it?
What do you mean? You don't want to get divorced? Even though we barely see each other lately?
That's because you hardly ever come home. I would be lying if I said it never crossed my mind. But even then, isn't it wrong to ask me to leave without first talking about things?
It's hard to live in the same house as someone you are divorcing. Why do I have to keep taking care of you until you're ready to leave?
I didn't ask you to support me. All I wanted was to have a proper amount of time to gather my things. I don't think it's normal to kick your spouse out like that without even talking about things first.
It's meaningless to talk about it when all I want is divorce. We will see each other when you sign the divorce papers. Isn't that good enough?
How are you planning to meet up? You know my parents' home is really far from here, right?
Well, you can travel back here when it's time.
Seriously? How selfish are you?
Well, if you don't like it, then why don't you stay at a nearby hotel until the papers are ready? But don't even think about asking me to pay for it.
Is the reason you're divorcing me because there's someone else?
What are you talking about?
Well, your mother told me. She said that you will definitely bring home a young, pretty girl one of these days.
That's just something my mom made up.
Well, you had been staying out often. Sometimes even overnight. You said you'd been sleeping in the office, but I have trouble believing that.
Well, I was actually sleeping at a cheap motel near work.
I don't need to hear your lame excuses. In your suit pants pocket, I found a receipt from a woman's clothing store. And I noticed the credit card bill had charged for an expensive hotel. I'm pretty sure you even went on an overnight spa trip. So you're divorcing me because there's someone else, right?
Where's your proof?
Well, all those credit card bills and stuff.
That doesn't prove anything. I just stayed at the nice hotel and went to the spa trip on my own. Aren't you desperate? Now that we're getting divorced, you're just making things up to get alimony from me. It's exactly this type of behavior that is causing you to be dumped.
If you're so perfect, show me your smartphone.
Why would I do that?
If you're so clean, you have nothing to hide, right?
That's invading my privacy. You're such a joke. But I guess I'm glad you're this way. It makes me even happier that I'm divorcing you.
What would you do if I said I don't want a divorce?
Then we'll have to fight on a court. Either way, I don't want to live in the same house as you anymore. Pleasant, every time I see you, I have zero feelings for you anymore. And yet I'm giving you a fair split of our assets. So there's no reason for the courts not accept this divorce.
You talk about a fair share, but there's hardly anything to begin with. All the money that we had saved, you wasted on unnecessary things.
Couldn't be helped, it was all necessary purchases. Think about what the neighbors might think with you just standing there. Please leave the property now. I'm never gonna let you in the house.
You're a horrible jerk until the end.
Didn't you mold me into this person? You clearly didn't do a good job performing your duties as a wife. My mother is saying she can't wait for me to find a wife that is way better than you.
Karma is gonna get you too badly if you keep acting this way.
What possible bad thing could happen to me by breaking up with such a useless wife? Maybe you should worry about yourself. Aren't you worried about whether a simple housewife like you can even get a proper job again?
I can always find work as long as I'm not too picky.
Yeah, I guess you can always find minimum paying jobs. Well, we just aren't made for each other. So stop with this nonsense and leave already. We're getting divorced because you were a bad wife. Just know that you aren't suited for marriage. And go on with your life with that lesson in mind. Hey Lisa, it's been a while.
What? Max?
Yeah, it's me. Happy to see you the other day. So that's why I thought I'd reach out and say hello.
Is that so? And? Is there anything else? I'd appreciate it if you didn't bother me again for no reason.
Yeah, you don't need to be so cruel. I'm your ex-husband for Pete's sake.
Yeah, ex-husband. We're just complete strangers now. I deleted your contact info and all our past messages. Because I have nothing to say to you anymore.
Well, why didn't you block me or something then?
That's because I completely forgot that you even existed. I didn't even think to block you.
You don't need to be so harsh. I do feel bad about how I acted during our divorce. I realize now that it was a bit too one-sided.
I don't care about that at this point.
Oh, by the way, did I hear it right that you're working in the hospital now?
Why, is that where you saw me?
Yes. You don't have any nurse's license or anything, so I've heard that it's a tough job. How you liking it?
I told you it's none of your business. Stop texting me if you don't have any specific reason. I will make sure to block you this time. And I will ignore you even if I bump into you at the hospital. I expect you to do the same. Bye then.
Wait! I do have something specific to tell you.
What is it?
Do you want me to support you financially?
What?
I'm sure you were tired of being used by nurses. King ends meet every month. Wouldn't it be nice if you can go back to being a simple housewife?
I don't understand what you're trying to say. I never, ever want to live with you ever again.
Well, you can commute then.
Commute?
Mom got dementia, so I need you to come take care of her. She's been really bad lately, and it's getting too much for me to handle by myself.
Is that so?
I know we broke up, but she used to be your mother-in-law. Mom is also saying that she'd happily accept help if it's yours. I will include free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How's that?
You are joking, right? Nobody would ever accept volunteer work like that. Besides, my mother-in-law passed away 3 years ago.
What? Passed away? You are the one with the jokes. She's very much alive.
I said my mother-in-law. Meaning my husband's mother.
What? Are you married?
Yep.
It's only been 6 years.
You mean it's already been 6 years?
But you said your mother-in-law passed away 3 years ago. Does that mean you were already married 3 years ago?
Yes? Is that a problem?
Yeah, you were not as innocent as I thought.
What? Are you kidding me? You've got some nerve. You're the one who quickly remarried someone right after we got divorced.
You knew about my marriage?
Yeah, all the neighbors were talking about it. Saying you got a new wife right after you kicked me out. I also know that you guys broke up. I guess they thought I would like to know that as well.
Mom and I talked, and the young wife was completely useless, and I regret breaking up with you.
Well, I have zero regrets. I'm even happy that we broke up.
You don't need to pretend to be tough. He's the kind of husband who's still making you work after all. And he married you and you're already past your prime. You must be a miserable old man who can't even provide.
Who do you think you are?
Why don't you just leave the loser and come back to me? I will never make you work just to make ends meet. You can go back to doing simple house chores.
I've had enough of your nonsense. You are the old, miserable man who has no ability to provide for the family. Besides, I'm not working at the hospital.
What? But I saw you wearing an apron and helping an elderly person in a wheelchair. I also saw you talking to the hospital staff.
I was just taking my husband's relative out for a stroll. My husband owns that hospital. Of course I talk to the staff from time to time.
What? Your new husband is a doctor then?
That's right.
That's a pretty big hospital too.
Well, yeah, big enough to have an inpatient's ward.
I see. Then please let my mom be admitted to the hospital.
Don't nursing home for her. That's not what we do at our hospital.
I'm sure you can do something about it if it's just one person.
It doesn't work that way. Quit joking around and look for a proper institute for her. What kind of person thinks to ask his ex-wife to take his mother-in-law in because you can't care for her yourself? I'm worried about your mental state.
I can't even afford any nursing homes. I had to pay a lot of alimony and my last wife loved expensive things. On top of that, because my mom isn't feeling well, she caused a lot of trouble with people and I'm still paying compensation for the damage she caused.
That has nothing to do with me.
Please help me! I haven't been able to go to work lately. And the house is a mess as well. I can only ask you for something like this.
Weren't you the one who ignored me when I asked you for help when your mother was picking on me? Didn't you say that it's my fault for taking things too seriously? And on top, you cheated on me and kicked me out saying we're getting a divorce. So what makes you think that I'd want to help you after all that? How many times do you have to stomp all over me until you're satisfied?
I don't want to stomp all over you, it's just that you were the kindest person I know and Mom also agrees that you were the best wife for me.
It's too late for anything and I will never forgive either of you. You guys deserve this. A mother-in-law whose only joy in life is to pick on her daughter-in-law and a garbage husband who cheats on his wives. No one would ever want to help people who are like that.
Lisa, I'm sorry, I really am. It would make a big difference if you could help even just a little bit. Please help me take care of her. I promise I will come up with a solution to make it worth your while.
The reason why nobody's willing to help you right now is because of how you have treated others in the past. You did it to yourself, so deal with it.
If I could deal with this myself, I wouldn't be asking. I've never paid any attention to what it takes to run a house. All I know is my work. Please help me. I will do anything. I'll even grovel at your feet if that helps. Please help.
Stop whining and go ask for advice from City Hall. They will help even a piece of garbage like you. Oh, and one last thing. I wasn't a bad wife who isn't suited for marriage. Because I'm happily married right now. My only mistake was marrying a defective garbage husband. Right after I sent him that message, I made sure to block him this time. And apparently he caused a scene by storming into my husband's hospital and demanding to see me. Of course, we called the police and had him removed from the property. We made him promise that he will never come near me nor the hospital. And we also informed his boss about the incident as well. That boss is actually Brady, the colleague Max used to look down on. I guess it ended up being Max who never received any promotion. I really regret marrying a loser like him, but I'm trying to think that I have my happiness right now because of the past. I have no idea what happened to them since then, but I happened to walk by their house a few years later, and it looked very run down, like it was in ruins. Anyway, it's none of my business how they are anymore. I just want to always remember to appreciate my husband, my family, and people around me for loving and supporting me, and I want to cherish this happiness in life forever.